So no, shh, as it opens. I was gonna say your party.
Listen, it's been a long day, right, brother?
Your party sounds like it was a bit wilder than my niece's second birthday.
Well, we ended up at we only ended up at the neighbours because of we've been working hard today because I blame right for the other staff. I blame the other neighbour, right? We'll say this. In fact, are we recording? We probably are. I'll double check. Yes, we are. The only reason I blame the other neighbour is that he put his Christmas lights up yesterday, didn't he? The audacity of the man.
It's
the
November,
audacity
for
of it.
fuck's sake.
I know, but you know what happens? Do you know what happens?
Everybody goes, I want to do that, actually.
Yeah, and then the other neighbours do it, and then another neighbour, and then Ellie's like, "Oh, do you think we need to put up our Christmas?" Oh, I'm like, "Oh."
That's what I'm afraid of when I get a house. I'm going to have to start doing things like this and being somewhat social.
It is literally the one thing. You've got to kind of judge it by the street of when it's socially acceptable to put up things like this up. Yeah. It's like we realised with Halloween, right, that basically the houses that we were going to be giving out candy basically do it like the weekend before. So it's like kind of like, come here next week. It's kind of...
Somebody else sent that around where they said, actually in our apartment buildings, so there's a few houses scattered around that had Halloween decorations, and then there was a thing in our building just said, FYI, I'm such and such from Townhouse 3. If I understand if you're not doing Halloween, but if you are, can you maybe just put out some spider webs or some decorations on the door and be open to them coming between, say, 5:30 and 6:30? And I was like, that is actually really sweet. Now, obviously, we didn't do it because I wasn't actually going to be home by that time from work and stuff, and so we didn't end up doing it. But I'm like, that is just really sweet, just giving him a little bit of nod. And you saw these kids walking down the house, and they're stopping in at ones with decorations, but they're not annoying other ones. I'm like, that's kind of a nice way of doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had it this year. Obviously, this was our first year with Halloween on the street. And we realised, and like we talked to the neighbours, and basically we got the heads up, i.e., make sure you got plenty of candy because we are that street. You know, every town has that street. We are that street. You know, everyone goes all out. Everyone, you know, and everyone turns up and comes to our street to do the route.
Oh,
so
wow!
It's like, right.
Oh, so you've actually got like other streets. Holy Jesus, Batman!
Oh yeah, like people will, because we are a bit of a rural community, so people will travel in as well, sort of thing, from like the little tiny hamlets and stuff, which is fine. There's no problem, you know, it doesn't matter.
Jesus.
But at least I was glad that we got the heads up because literally I think we ended up only with like one bag of fun-sized Kit Kats, a bag of Freddos, and some Haribo. That was it. That's all was left. But we had tons. We had lots of lollies that we were giving. Wow. In fact, literally, I realised how much I had left. Because I was told the rule was apparently 2 pieces per kid, which is fine, and I abided by the rule. But then I started to realise, going, if I keep doing this rule, I'm going to end up with a crap ton of candy.
So yeah,
and you know,
don't do that because then you become known as the good candy house, and then everybody's going to want to come just to your house. And when you don't hit that level, then they're going to egg your house.
But this is the thing, they started, so this year, I mean, everyone's agreed that they came around early this year, but there was a lot of littlies this year.
Yeah.
So, like, it was like 4 o'clock they started coming. I was like, right, okay. So maybe next year it might be 4:30, 5 o'clock. But, so they were all done by 7:30.
That's all right.
Even the teenagers, no one was out, and it was like, oh, okay.
If you rocked up after 7:30, we're out of candy, I'm just giving you beers. There you go. Well, that one's low calorie.
It was literally, but we put a thing up saying, "Oh, we're done for the night. Thank you very much." Blah blah blah. And we took, and you know, and because it was still light, I was like, "Well, I might as well take the decorations down. It's nice and dry."
Yeah.
Sort of things.
Oh no!
So I just started pulling all the decorations down.
While sitting there with a bowl of candy under your arm, just hoofing it down because screw the little kids.
I didn't. It's only when I walked back inside. Literally, whatever was in the bowl, I was giving out in handfuls at that point.
Oh wow!
And then it was like, I said, right, what's left of the haul? It's like, right, well, I got 1 bag of Kit Kats from Costco. You know, so it's not a small packet. We're talking a decent sized packet. And I thought, well, those will get eaten quite easily.
Is Costco worth it?
Dorks Down Under.
Because I know a few people.
I've just realised we've not done the intro yet. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get on to rants, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dorks Down Under, Season 2, Episode 38. And this one is 38. I know it is.
Unlike 5 episodes ago, where it was also 38.
At this point, on the original account, we're up to 46 or something daft like that before we've actually course corrected and everything else.
Every episode is 38.
Every episode's 38 from now on, we don't care. We'll get there eventually. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for all the likes, shares, and subscribes. We are the podcast that discusses all the nerdy crap and everything else, and about that we're middle-aged, and it's fabulous, ladies and gentlemen. We're having good times, good energy.
Oh, man.
It's good times, good energy, and we're discussing... This week's episode, we're going to be discussing movie plots from vastly different movies that are technically the same movie.
Oh, are we? I was going to... I was
It's
actually discussing
conspiracies.
some of the...
That's what you told me.
I said
That's what you told me.
conspiracies. So there's certain things that... I spoke about this about 2 or 3 weeks ago because I wanted to do this. And I've since gone down like a massive, massive rabbit hole of this. And it is kind of funny. And there's like little things that people have brought up. And yeah, we'll come back to Is Costco good later. That might be its own episode. But like... For example, like one of the things, like, so it popped up on my Instagram Reels, which is like just old people's TikTok, as I'm calling it now, as a joke. But it says that Frodo did not know Legolas's name in Lord of the Rings.
Correct.
And I was like, what? And then it obviously goes through this little thing and said when he's in hospital, he yells out to everybody, and he yells out everybody's name except for Legolas. And then when Gimli walks in, he yells out Gimli as well. So he doesn't actually know his name. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. And then I started to do some research, and some of the stuff is kind of cool. Like, for example, like Moana. So you've seen Moana, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, and that she's dead.
Yeah, she's actually dead because she only sees spirits. Yeah. Mate, he already knows all this stuff, but for anybody that isn't Jordan, hasn't probably already searched this, and now is going to ruin all my cool jokes, I'm going to tell you guys. So pretty much the idea is that when Moana has that shipwreck and stuff, obviously she meets the god and stuff, but from that period on, she only meets spirits and people from the spirit realm. So the idea
and she's able to travel to the underworld, yes.
Yeah, correct. And so the idea is that she has actually died. And then she's given life after she saves, obviously, the island and stuff. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. She saves an island.
Spoiler alert, it's been out for some years.
Yeah, I know, yeah. They're already making like an actual version of it. Like Disney is like... It's so old into the classics now that they're actually like remaking it as a real people thing. But and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But there's kind of a lot of them. So there's another one that was actually, so as I was going through this, Greece, Sandy dies at the start. So when she actually drowns, so you know how when they say we made out she almost drowned? Yeah. The idea behind it is that she actually drowned at the start.
Oh, and that's the reason why they fly off into the sun. That's good.
And obviously Danny is her crush. He obviously changes, and as we know, a man in college isn't going to change for a woman and go from a greaser to a track athlete. And that the actual thing is actually her in a coma going through all these things. And then at the end, she gets her man, flies off into heaven, and that's actually when she dies. And I'm like...
That's good. I like that.
I was like, holy bejesus. And then there's some ones that are a little bit morbid. So like Wizard of Oz... Right.
Okay.
So this is.
Well, I'll tell you what. The way we will do this episode, we'll establish some rules, right? Okay. You can do, because obviously we both miscommunicated and we've got the wrong end of the stick.
That's right. We can split halfway through.
So you can do your one, and then I will do one from my list, and then we can kind of try and surprise
this one. I just want to do because it's morbid as hell. So Wizard of Oz, Gilda dropped Dorothy's house on the Wicked Witch of the East. Not a tornado. So she's actually used her magic. Okay, and it gets worse. And uses her to gain control of Oz, is what the title is. And I'm like, what? So it says, one of the first things Gilda tells Dorothy is that she killed the Wicked Witch of the West, then praises her so she accepts it and understands and goes, oh, I'm doing a good thing by killing this person. Yeah. And then who obviously comes along to see what happened to her sister, the Wicked Witch of the East, and who comes along but the Wicked Witch of the West and asks who kills her sister, which is Dorothy. And then Gilda goes, shit, what are we going to do here? I know, let's put the ruby slippers on Dorothy, The one thing that the Wicked Witch of the West wants, it has the full power to send her home, but not tell her any of this. And then during this, obviously, the Wicked Witch of the West is going to go after Dorothy. Dorothy's going to have no hope and send her to Oz, so she's doing this. Trying to get her to murder it. Trying to get her to, obviously, go to Oz, figure out some things, and hopefully on the way, the Wicked Witch of the West will size something and end up dead. So that Gilda can take over Oz.
Oh, yeah.
So this is kind of like...
I'll tell you what, actually, that conspiracy theory works so well in conjunction with the Oz
next one, the Return
movie.
to Oz, yeah.
No, well, not to Return to Oz. I'm talking about the prequel movie that had Matey Boy in, and it was Oz the Great. You know, it's all about Oz the Great.
I don't know if I've
and
seen
how
that
when
one.
he lands in Oz and all that jazz, and it becomes the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
You know, and he ends up, you know, and all that jazz. So actually, that has some interesting merit, actually.
Because it says, so at the end of the article, it's kind of funny because it says, who's left in Oz? It's Gilda, friggin' Witch of the North. She uses Dorothy as an unexpected pawn to control Oz without having to leave her bubble. And when Dorothy is done upheaving the two powers in Oz to challenge her, she goes, oh, by the way, you can send that home, and then makes her think it's all a dream. I'm like, oh my God, this is like proper. And unfortunately, I've dived into this a bit, and there's so many of these conspiracy theories that I'm like, damn, that's actually weird.
Okay, all right, well, that's interesting. Well, the way I thought you wanted to do this episode was all about like movies, like two different movies, but they have the same plot.
So kind of
I
like
thought it was that.
Oh, so it's kind of like a couple of episodes ago when we did the Star Wars.
Yeah, I think
Harry
it was
Potter
that
was
one.
the same one.
So I'm going to give you the plot. Okay. Now it's one of the last drone repairmen on Earth finds a spacecraft.
It sounds like Wall-E.
Leads to a discovery that puts the fate of mankind in his lap. So the question is it Wall-E? Or is it Oblivion?
I haven't seen
Tom
Oblivion.
Cruise.
I haven't seen Oblivion.
What?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You've not seen Oblivion? How have you not seen Oblivion? It's actually quite good. In fact, Oblivion is nearly as... It's very much like Destiny of the Xbox video game franchise.
Yeah,
it's
I haven't
nearly...
played that either. I know.
Oh, there's no talking with you. There's no talking. But yeah, but basically that's the kind of realm I'm aiming for, sort of thing. So that's where I thought we were going with this episode. So anyway,
I'm gonna download Oblivion then.
Oblivion's it's not amazing. It's not amazing.
Oh, now he's underselling it.
No, it's not. No, but you know what I'm saying. It's not. It's one of those movies you can just put on and you can actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. You know, it doesn't require an in-depth knowledge of. It's not like Star Wars where you're required to know the basics of the Force to get a grasp the concept.
What, you're not?
Oh, no. Anyway, so that's what I was aiming for. Okay, right. So so is it Wall-E or are we talking about Oblivion? So I've just realised the error that's going to happen with this, given the fact that me and you probably are on a different movie level. I mean, we've got probably a good knowledge range between us.
Yes.
But I've probably seen a lot more mainstream than you.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of speaking of Star Wars, as you did, Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord, is one of them.
Yes, correct.
That I looked into.
Everybody knows it.
So,
I don't care what the canon comic says about him going off being a disgraced senator and then having to perform like a circus clown. I refuse. He's a Sith Lord, and everybody knows it.
This was one of the ones that shocked me, and what's funny too, though, is I'm like, rather than give us that movie between episode 3 and episode 4 where you just know what's going to happen because it's been spoken about so much, man, I want to see Jar Jar Binks as a Sith Lord. But it says here that, like, he is obviously the most hated figure in Star Wars, which is weird because Catherine Kennedy has probably now overtaken him. But yeah, but they.
Although, can we just say the good news on that front is that Dave Filoni has been made co-chair president of all
I think she was
LucasArts property. Or it's whatever weird title. I heard the weird title the other day, and I thought that's a weird, really odd thing. But basically, it means that Dave Filoni, the man who's obviously brought us The Mandalorian, Clone Wars episodes, this guy, he's worked with George Lucas directly. He knows pretty much everything.
Yeah.
he's been named. Basically, he's now in charge of everything related to Star Wars at Disney, but he's got to work with Kathleen Kennedy, and that's going to be fine.
What's weird though is
fine.
I do think though that obviously she has worked with George Lucas a long time, and she did have some good ideas. I just think that her good ideas were trying to take Star Wars in a completely different direction. But the problem is when you have a fan base the size as you have, you can't just turn things on their head and just be like, oh, because the times have changed. They have. No, most of these people have been watching it since the 80s. It hasn't changed.
Yep. Absolutely. I think that's the big problem I have with Kathleen Kennedy is that the answer is, oh, we'll just do this and we'll replace the male lead with a female. No, we can't just chop and change stuff. It doesn't work that way, sort of thing. But anyway, that's by the by. The fact that I find that South Park latched onto that and Disney, I'm actually amazed because normally when Disney get attacked, even slightly, not maybe directly, they're very on that.
But I guess the idea is that there does seem to be a lot of people doing that, where there are a lot of change-ups. And to be fair, I don't think it's a bad thing if, for example, as we've spoken about in this podcast, I was like, whether it's a black, white, Cuban, Asian, alien that gets the role, if they're the best person for the role, that's great. But if you're doing it just for fan service, it kind of feels a bit weird. Like, for example, the girl that played a Domino in whatchamacallit, in Deadpool, she was fantastic. Yes, technically Domino is considered a white person, but at the end of the day, it works because it was very good. But if you're going to get someone from, like, if you're going to cast Gambit with, instead of having a New Orleans draw, he's now from New York, I'm like, there's certain things that it's like known for the character, so I'm like, don't change it. But there are plenty of ones where I'm like, if they were played by this, but like Black Panther, you would never get a white guy to play Black Panther.
Absolutely.
Because part of the iconic of him is that. Like, and at the end of the day, like, even with The Little Mermaid, I was like, like at the end of the day, if the black actress is the best for the role, I'm like, it's a made-up creature. Like, it's not going to break the bank if it is. And that being said, everybody that I've seen that's watched it has told me that it is not. Like, Cherish loves The Little Mermaid. And even she was like, yeah, it's kind of crap.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, on that front, I mean, we've got, obviously, probably the biggest controversial Hot Topic movie that Disney's, obviously, under this era has gone wrong is obviously the Snow White movie.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is it, right? We're going to have to word ourselves carefully because you might not like this. But obviously, let's be honest, right? The entire story, I mean, the original folklore thing is a princess with the fairest of skins, okay?
Yep.
Which would generally be synonymous with a very particular kind of race of people, which is fine. But the fact is that they've gone, oh no, we're gonna obviously bring like Latino energy into this mix. It's a little bit like, and then the fact that apparently the dwarfs can't be played by little people, is also a big.
Well, that was the weirdest thing. So like, I mean, like at the idea of the fairest of them all. Old school English just means that they were beautiful. It doesn't necessarily mean fair skin. So I'm actually don't care about that. It's just funny that somebody that is this outspoken an actress on all these things not only wanted to play this part, but then also said now we've got to change a whole heap of things, and not to mention is also seems to be slagging off the film that she was in. Where I'm just kind of like, I'm like, at the end of the day, like, it's up to them. But there's got to be a point where you're like. You hate everything that this movie stands for. You hate everything about it, but you still want to play in it, and then you're going to continue to bring up about how bad it is and stuff like this. And then I know for a fact that there was a lot of is dwarf the right word? I know that's what.
The original folktale talks about the dwarfs.
Yeah.
Now.
No, but I mean, but a lot of dwarf actors and stuff actually kicked up the fuss because now.
The big controversial thing that was happening is that apparently Disney, obviously, said that we are going to open, for inclusion reasons, said, oh no, we're going to open all positions are open. But logically, in historical thing, the seven dwarfs have always generally been played by little people, which is fine.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to ask. I was trying to ask if dwarf or little person was the correct way of...
Little person is little people. Little person tends to be the correct pronoun or whatever we definition.
Yeah.
But the fact is that obviously Disney said no, it has to be open to everyone, which is fine. Again, completely fine. But then the fact is, it kind of came down with the lead actress herself saying, "Oh no, it needs to be open. No, we're not stereotyping here." And it's like, but it's like kind of the main thing of the story.
Yeah. Because I know, for example, I know Brad Williams, who's obviously a comedian that has dwarfism, and he's amazing. And even he said he was like, there's not that many roles that people in myself can go for. So something like this, to have this taken away, and then I think there's also rumours that it's actually going to be computer generated. Because they're now talking about it being CGI because basically it kind of feels like they're now on the backtrack for it, which is right. How do we get around this entire fiasco and not cause offence? Which they can't now. They've they've already shot themselves in the foot, and this is the problem. Now they're going, oh right, what do we do? Yeah. So
the problem is it's a big ball of hot garbage. Nobody wants it now. That's the problem.
Because
but
that's
this could be the greatest movie of next summer, or what? It could be like, oh my god, no.
But the problem is, there's already people calling for it to be blacklisted, and for people not wanting to go because of obviously all the things that have transpired. Obviously, this young actress as well. And I'm all for standing up for what you believe in, standing up for this. But as a lot of people have said, why are you taking multiple $1 million to play a role that you are against, that you think should be changed, that you think is out of the times? And to be fair, I agree with it. Like this film, had that been made today, brand new, it probably wouldn't have passed anything.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But you've also got to remember too, though, is that some of these films, like Star Wars, like this, there is a fan base that's there, and obviously it is quite a beautiful story that was told that a lot of people have seen as kids and different things and that. But when I know, for example, in Wonka as well, I know you Grant copped a lot of flack for being an Oompa Loompa when they're like, we could have got short people to do this, we could have got little people to do this, that, and the other. And there does seem to be a lot of hatred for that. And I'm like, opening it up to all people rather than leaving it for people like little people or people with dwarfism, I kind of understand what you're trying to do, but you've got to remember too, though, is the whole reason why people we're opening up movies and stuff, say for Hispanics or blacks or for Asians, is because they're underutilized in this.
Yes,
what you
correct.
shouldn't be doing is taking somebody that has that, yes, like Brad Williams, as he said, somebody with dwarfism or a little person that probably only has so many roles a year that they can all fight for, and take it away from them to try to give it to a more broader audience. It's kind of weird. It's kind of so these 5 things we're going to aim right at. This thing, that can go to anybody. You're like, but it's in the same kind of vein, and it does feel a bit like we're picking and choosing where these battles are and then overdoing different things. And I agree. I think Hugh Grant, great actor, bit of a wanker, but great actor. He probably shouldn't have played an Oompa Loompa. There should have been a little person there, how it was iconically played. And it's just it does seem funny where we've got these battle lines drawn, but then the battle lines can quite easily be moved and changed and different things. And
to be fair, I think the only Disney, because obviously they're owned by Disney, but obviously when what was it? Not Infinity. Yeah, it was the Infinity War. The end of the Infinity War. What was it? Yeah, it was called Infinity War, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The last one. But yeah, basically the last one. Obviously, when Thor ends up going to meet the dwarfs.
Yeah.
And all this jazz. Because generally in the comics they've always played, they are literal dwarfs, that sort of thing. They're short of stature and all this jazz. But medieval sort of, they live in the mountains and do all this jazz. The fact that they go into this ring, the ring world, blah, 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 it's binary start. I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And the fact that not only did they have to up, they had Peter Dinklage, who is
Yes.
probably one of the most famous little persons in acting at the moment.
Yeah.
Tyrion Lannister. Having Peter Dinklage, but not only is he, they're not just, it's not just Peter Dinklage as a short person being involved. Oh no, he's gigantic! He's massive!
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Where I was just like,
and I loved it. I was like, yes!
like that's kind of clever. And I'm like, at the end of the day, like I do feel like there are ways of doing it that still can be quite but there are things where you can't really like take things away from certain people. Like it just seems weird. Like I don't know. Like I just feel like, and like even like I know Brad Williams, and there are a lot of actors that just went, we don't have that many jobs we can go for, and now you're trying to take him away. Because some little upstart
Which was the big
who
argument
hates the film, who doesn't want to be part of it, who doesn't want to do this, but willing to take multiple millions of dollars, and we're going to miss out on possible roles that we can go for, all because of some bullshit that she believes.
I think I saw Piers Morgan. He had another well-known little person actor on, and one of these general woke people, who's championing the this is what we should be doing, and the fact is that person couldn't come up with a good argument of why, and it was just like, but it was just interesting. Anyway, I feel like we're getting a bit heavy, so I'm going to give you one of mine.
I feel like we've again.
We've gone a bit heavy, sort of thing. So I'm like,
but
okay.
It is, but I do feel for
this is the plot, and you're going to get 1, 2, 3. 5 choices of movie.
Jesus Christ. And all of them are technically right.
Yeah. It's so fun it is. Okay, so
hey, wait, one question. It's not all of them are just Steven Seagal's films where it's just he works for a different government body.
It's a very specific actor though.
Is this Tom Hanks where it's like Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail?
This is Tom Hanks's Flight doesn't go well.
Oh my God! So Castaway is probably the obvious one.
That's one of them. Yeah, that's one. You've got Apollo 13.
Yes.
You've got The Terminal.
Oh yeah, that's pretty funny.
And then there's 2 of the lesser known films, which is Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. So they also feature bad things, sort of thing. But yeah, if you take away those 2, literally between Apollo 13, Castaway, and The Terminal, Tom Hanks's Flight doesn't go well. It's like, well, I've got a choice. I mean, logically, you say Castaway is like immediately
most obvious one. But because obviously the terminal, he has to live in the terminal and stuff.
He has to live in the terminal because he can't get it, because something's gone wrong during his
Apollo
flight.
13.
And then Apollo 13, the rocket has to come back and they can't get back.
I was hoping it was going to be Captain Phillips, where it's like, I am the captain now. I was like,
I am the captain now.
That dude was scary as shit. I was like, man, I never want to go on a boat again.
Aye. But yeah, oh my God. I love the, as I said, I found this thing and I just love reading through it. And some of them are like, oh my God, it does make sense. But yeah. The next one I'll give you, which is a bit more in-depth. Now, I'm going to put my hands up. All right, I'll mention the second movie, but I've never seen it, okay? But I'm aware of what it is, okay? So I can say this confidently, knowing that it does make sense. Okay. But I don't want any hate, okay? Okay, so stole a loaf of bread, went to jail, was given riches by someone, gained political office, took part in a rebellion against the government, has a long-standing feud with one specific government official, and ultimately influences this enemy to defeat himself.
What the It sounds like Les Mis. It sounds like the musical for Les Mis, but...
So it's either, correct, Les Mis or Aladdin.
Oh, yeah!
And I'll tell you now, I've never seen Les Mis.
I've seen the musical, I haven't seen the movie, but... Oh my God. Because that was the first thing that comes to mind. Obviously, back in the day, I was very much a drama brat and loved musical theatre and stuff like that. So for me, it's like, it literally just sounds like Les Mis. That's kind of bizarre. But
I literally read this and all of it makes sense for Aladdin for me. And I thought, but I am roughly aware of the storyline of Les Mis. So I'm like, yeah, I can definitely see how this can be the way you word it specifically like this.
Because there's another one similar to that is also done with musical theatre. So obviously, couple get together, the two families hate each other. From there, obviously, there's some deaths in the family that kill each other while they're warring, while these two people fall in love, and thing, which is obviously Romeo and Juliet, but also West Side Story.
Yes, no, exactly.
So there are a lot where far out. There's so many. Man, I reckon I'm changing the episode just to this. Like, we can do the other one, but it does seem like there is a few. Like, obviously, we did the Star Wars and Harry Potter one, obviously, a little while ago, and that just seemed like, because I remember hearing that, I'm just like, I'm listening to this dude, and I'm like, this makes so much sense.
Here's a good one, right? I'd pass it, and I think this might trip you up. I wonder if you wonder if you'll get both movies. The overprotective single father falls into dangerous situations in search of an abducted child.
So which means Taken, I'm guessing, is one.
Correct.
With Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
And the other one, it's going to be Finding Nemo.
Yes!
Champion. Mind you, though, there are a few that are kind of like that as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is literally when I was reading that, I thought to myself, I'm sure I can think of a couple of other movies off the top of my head that is very similar as well. But specifically for that wording, that these two movies can work. So I think that's.
I was like, he's putting me to the test. I've got to do this now. But yeah, holy bejesus, because in theory, they are very much similar. Oh God.
The next one.
Should I be scared?
I don't know if you'll know. I've seen both of these movies. I don't know if you'll know one of them. But then again, you might. All right. An evil father attempts to get his son to help him rule the universe. Awkward sexual tension between brother and sister ensues.
So there's obviously, I'm guessing Star Wars seems like
correct.
One.
Yes, correct. That's a given. Yeah.
And then the other one, sexual tension between the brother and sister, and it wouldn't be Game of Thrones, with it? No.
No.
That's a movie.
It's a movie. It's a movie. Yeah.
It's a sexual tension between the brother and the sister. Sorry.
The Devil's Advocate. I don't know if you've seen it.
With Keanu Reeves and Pacino, and then is it Charlize Theron?
I think it is Charlize Theron. Yeah, I think it's one of the very early roles.
Where they're trying to get together, and they're like, "I'm your sister." You're like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
But it's Charlize Theron, so maybe but kind of maybe.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, if Charlize Theron was my sister, I mean, God forbid. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on from
now,
that,
this is obviously just immediately, you think of immediately one franchise. The other one, interesting. A wealthy man has an alter ego that only comes out at night.
Yeah,
obviously.
So you got Jekyll and Hyde or the Hulk or Batman.
Ooh, Batman, yes.
Okay. So Hulk kind of has that, but it doesn't only come out at night. Jekyll and Hyde kind of does. Werewolf in London or New York could probably also be that, where it comes out. Other one would be Darkman.
Nope.
Okay.
No, the other one listed is American Psycho.
Oh yeah, I guess with what's his name?
Which you kind of get it. Yeah, it kind of works.
Because there's a few that kind of be like that. Because it is kind of bizarre. But like there are some, depending on how broad you go, you're like a team of extraordinary humans come together, which could obviously be the Avengers, but could also be the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Like,
yes,
obviously, there was another one that I was thinking of that they draw their power from something, so they draw their power from something and it keeps them young and youthful and stuff like that. Which there was a movie that I can't remember the name of, but then there's also Portraits of Dorian Gray, where they end up having to, rather than, what was it? It's kind of like Voldemort. You know how he's got that book, and that book gives him power and whatnot. But then Portraits of Dorian Gray, he stays young because he's got a photo. So to kill them, you don't actually have to kill them. You just have to destroy the thing they're getting power from. But you're like, there's so many of them where there is a lot of things that are like ridiculously similar, and you're like,
it is. This one's a good one actually. This one's actually quite interesting. So it gives you two plots that you could read.
Okay.
For this one.
And they're both
for the same two movies.
Oh wow! Okay.
So, I'll read the simplified one first, which is an old man stops trusting community and decides to take matters into his own hands.
Okay.
Or you could have an old bitter man in changing times befriends his young Asian neighbour, who helps him overcome his cynicism and dislike of people after the death of his wife.
Okay. It's the Asian one that's throwing me because I'm thinking Green Hornet, but that feels like it could be wrong.
No, that's not Green Hornet.
No, just because I'm like, yeah. So.
Especially as you know an old man in it, but that's funny. Okay,
well, the lead guy's older than the Asian dude. Like the Asian dude's his driver kind of.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I'll read out the title. So you're either describing the plot of Gran Torino.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Yeah, I've heard great things about it. I haven't seen
movie.
that.
You gotta watch it.
Everybody tells me that. I just haven't seen that.
Yeah. So you got Gran Torino, or are we talking about the film Up from Disney Pixar?
Oh, he's technically a fat Asian kid, isn't he?
He is, and he's roughly his neighbour because he lives in the same area.
Yeah.
The wilderness must be explored.
Yeah, I know. I saw that on a T-shirt in where was I? At one of the markets in here in Melbourne, and it was all you had was a girl's legs, and you could just see like this thing here that looked like the side of a girl's legs, and just the kid's face with the wilderness must be explored. I'm like, oh my god!
I tell you what, that's popped all over my TikTok.
I'm like, how can you sell that?
Oh no, it's popped all over my TikTok algorithm, man. When it's like when women make and they're making a thing where they're talking over something.
Yeah.
And it's like just the wording saying, "Babes, I'm sorry, I've not shaved downstairs for a month," and it's like the wilderness must be explored.
Well, this dude has it, and it just looks like this, and then I walk past and I laugh, and then somebody saw it and said, "Oh my god, how can you sell that?" He's like, "It's a tree with a K in a canyon." And that's what he was telling people it was. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, cool.
Of course it was.
But it does seem weird that there seems to be, there always seems to be a movie and then like a Disney or Pixar or cartoon movie that it goes with. And you're like...
Well, the next one's going to be interesting. This one gives you 4 movie options for it.
Oh my god.
It's quite interesting. Oh yeah, we're giving you... And it's not all the same actor as well, so you'll be glad to know. So, here we go, the plot. A man joins up with natives to learn their culture and exploit them.
So
he ends up that's one of them. He ends up falling in love with their way of life and one of their women and leads them to victory over those trying to take advantage of their resources. So yes. So Avatar is one.
Is the Last of the Mohicans one?
No.
Oh, because I know that he goes there and falls in love. There's got to be one with Native Americans, I'm sure of it.
There is one with Native Americans.
And I don't think it's going to be...
Actually, there's two with Native Americans, actually.
So there's going to be that new one, I'm guessing, from Martin Scorsese. Is it what's it called? Is it the new one? There's something about wallflowers or mayflowers or something.
No, that's no.
I was going to make a joke and say the Lone Ranger because technically Hammer falls in love with Tonto there.
No.
Yeah, really, that's really...
All right, I'll give you the other ones for you out of your misery. Okay, so it's either Avatar, which is a given. Pocahontas.
Oh, of course. Fuck. Okay. How did I forget Pocahontas? It was right on the wind. It was that colour on the wind there.
The next one is Dances with Wolves, which I believe is Kevin Costner.
Yeah, it is Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
To be fair though,
great movie.
I haven't
great movie. I've not watched it for years.
I don't reckon I've seen that in 25 years, if I'm honest.
And the last one, which feels like a throwback to my childhood, which is Fern Gully.
Oh, yes! I love that bat. That was so cool.
It's the bat, isn't it? That's the thing. Literally, I saw the word, and it wasn't the plot. The bat was the first thing that popped up.
Fern Gully. So for anybody that hasn't seen that, it's kind of like fairies.
Oh, it is. It's terrible. But literally, I read that and I thought, yep, no, I remember all of Fern Gully now. I remember exactly all about Fern Gully now.
You know what I was watching the other day? I'm not watching, but it came up in conversation the other day. Do you remember Land Before Time?
Yes. Oh.
So Land Before Time, and then Poor Ducky.
Land Before Time.
Poor Ducky.
Poor Ducky. Oh, no. It's Littlefoot's mum.
Yeah.
Oh God, that scene, brother.
Oh, it wasn't that. It was more that the actor that was playing Ducky died in kind of a horrific way.
What?
Oh, yeah, no. Like it was pretty bad. So for anybody, Google Jordan is Googling that right now, and please,
yeah,
feel free, because I remember it happening, and I just remember going oh my God.
Oh, hang on. Do you need to definitively say it for the Land Before Time, because apparently there's another one. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus. All right. Okay. All right. Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus.
Feel free to enlighten us, because you're...
Right, okay, so obviously it immediately comes up, the actress who died a very tragic death, so the tragic merger of Judith Barisi, the Ducky in the film, cut short a promising career before its release. Brace's talents and charisma impressed the director Don Bluth, so much that she was cast in his next film, All Dogs Go to Heaven, which was dedicated to her memory. So even before the film was released, he already cast her, but obviously, sadly...
Yeah.
But
I just remember seeing that, because I remember hearing about that, and I was like, holy Jesus. Because at the end, I remember thinking that. I'm like, oh, it must have been an older lady that did like a younger voice. But she wasn't. She was super, super young. And unfortunately, she was brutally murdered.
Oh my God, she was... Oh, dear Lord, I've just realised how old she was.
Yeah, no.
And oh my God. Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, she was incredibly, incredibly young. And that was one thing that I remember just breaking my heart when I first heard it. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh God, I'm not going to be able to I'm never going to be able to watch that movie again now. Thank you, Dez.
You're welcome.
God.
You're welcome. But yes, no, unfortunately, she was 10 years old. She just celebrated her 10th birthday a couple of weeks earlier. And unfortunately, she was unfortunately murdered. It was brutal. I know.
Jesus.
But yeah, so that came up, and then obviously...
Way to kill the mood, Des.
I'm sorry, man. But no, it was weird, because we were talking about like old stuff, and then also just recently I downloaded all 5 series of The Snorks. Do you remember The Snorks? Google The Snorks. You'll remember them if you see them.
I probably will.
But then, unfortunately that came up. But then we obviously then got into other 80s and 90s.
Oh, dear things. Lord, I remember The Snorks.
And the Snorks were kind of like these underwater creatures that kind of had these bent penises on their foreheads.
No, they have snorkels on their foreheads.
I mean, it was just kind of this thing that popped up and went across, and it was just like that. They were a bit weird, but I had downloaded it and was watching it a bit. It was a bit of fun, and they were just dumb. And then we started to watch like other things like Brave Star and like Defenders of the Earth obviously came up, because obviously we had spoken about that.
Hang on. You didn't say that correctly.
Defenders of the Earth. Defenders. That's how you got to say it every time. I actually downloaded that after that episode, and I was editing, and while I was editing our podcast, I had it in one ear, and then in the other ear, I had Defenders of the Earth playing on this side, and I was like, it is amazing.
I'll tell you what was crazy, literally about a week ago, I decided, I was cooking and preparing dinner, which is a very rare occasion now that I work full-time, and I was just like, I just want to put something stupid on just because it was literally, I'm cooking something that's like 30 minutes, and I didn't want like a big epic playlist or anything like that. I literally randomly popped up was 80s cartoon intros.
Oh my God.
As a full playlist. I had the best time of my life cooking. And Ellie came through and she was singing along with me.
Jordan just
and Eddie's like, what is wrong with you two? These are like the shows, Edward. These shows.
Edward, we need to educate you.
Oh my God! No, he understood something because we've already not subjected. We've already enlightened him.
Yeah, I was going to say enlightened
certain things, like like the original Transformers and stuff like that. But it's like, oh my God, when the original, Inspector Gadget came on, me and Elle suddenly went full theatre. Inspector Gadget.
Oh no, you can't sing that and not just be happy. It's just
what is it about the ooh? You have to do the ooh. Everybody has to do the ooh. And it was just, and then, my favourite one, which is a guilty pleasure cartoon I used to love watching. I wasn't a huge fan of the show, but I just thought the intro just gripped me every time, which was Thundercats.
Oh, Thundercats is good.
And I don't know what it is, the song still does it, and literally I just started playing, I was like, Thundercats are on the loose. And Ellie's like, will you calm down? No! you gotta go full tilt when you're listening to Thundercats,
Leave me alone, woman, I'm in my zone.
But yeah, oh god,
I still think the greatest one is still DuckTales, and then how many different versions you can find of dance and trance version of DuckTales. If you get a chance, go do it yourself. And you got these trance versions of it where you're like, fuck yeah, you're getting into it.
It is.
And it's just catchy. And then you get these people where they're like really awkwardly dancing. Like there's one where I think it was a scene that was originally in like a Baptist church where there's all these really awkward white guys dancing really awkwardly. And all of a sudden obviously the music starts playing and then these dudes start dancing very awkwardly. But for some reason it's just like when the beat drops and then they start playing DuckTales and then these old weird looking white dudes start dancing really awkwardly. And I'm like, it just fits so well. Or you get some goth kids that all of a sudden start like going bananas at a thing, and they play the DuckTales thing, and I'm like, it's amazing.
It's honest to God. I mean, yeah. So I ended up listening to all these random 80s cartoons. It was just so funny. It's like that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The original. Oh, mwah, chef's kiss. Love that one.
That one is cool.
Ghostbusters. You got the animation.
The old school animation.
The old school animation show, baby. Everybody loves it. It's pretty much a copy for the original song.
Yeah.
But still, it's kind of... There's so many sort of... Literally, I found this playlist on Spotify. I'll have to send it to you. But I literally found it, and literally I was just going through, and I was like, is there a 90s one? Because I was obviously watching cartoons in the 90s as well.
Yeah.
And I found the 90s version, which had... it had... now, this is going to be a bit of a throwback, because you might not have had it. Because this might be a British only one, which was the Family Nest.
The Family Nest. What is
the Family Nest? It's about the family of Loch Ness monsters.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh no! Yes, I did. Yeah. Well, weirdly,
it's got bagpipes in the thing, and it's so good. It's such a pop.
So I've just googled 80s television cartoon shows, and it says the very best of the 80s television cartoon show soundtrack has just popped up. So what is on it is the first one I actually don't know, and I was like, which is the Incredible Hulk. I don't think I've seen that series.
Oh, Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. Yes,
Great one. Track 2 is obviously Dungeons and Dragons. You remember the old school cartoon Dungeons and Dragons?
Especially when they got featured in the movies, a little cameo.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
That one. I won't lie. That bit made me happy.
I saw, even though you always see this little glimpse of it, it's like, yes, that's my childhood.
As soon as I saw it, I was just like, oh, that is brilliant that they added that. Like, it's so ridiculous, and I love it.
Yeah.
So I got number 3, which is He-Man. Power of the...
He-Man.
Yep.
Yes, He-Man's the Master of the Universe. Great show.
Followed by Inspector Gadget. So we've already spoken about Jordan's unhealthy love affair for that. The next one is Jace and the Wheeled Warriors.
Oh, Jace and the Wheeled Warriors! Yes!
That one I've seen, but I was just like, wow, that's proper old school, and that's kind of neat.
Oh yeah,
like, that only ran for a series.
What is it? With Machine Mind, he's the villain, I think, on it, or something like that. But I can't remember now.
It is kind of weird because a lot of 80s cartoon only ran for a series or two. But they did kind of run for like a series or two, but that series or two did kind of go for like 70 episodes.
Repeatedly.
And then was just on for like years at a time. But I was like, holy bejesus. So that one was another obscure one that my people. Obviously Mask. You remember Mask?
I hated Mask.
Really?
Don't get me wrong.
I loved Mask.
I never enjoyed it. But to be fair, I wasn't a fan of G.I. Joe either, so it was kind of like...
Well, G.I. Joe's on the list at number 9. So you got Mask, you got Robotech, Transformers, G.I. Joe, you've got She-Ra, which is obviously a spin-off from He-Man.
Right. I'll tell you now that my wife loves She-Ra, and she won't have a bad word against it. I was like, all right, so you back off from that.
I'm like, I understand, but like, it is funny because some of these shows and stuff, you're like, oh my god. But then you find out that, they only had one series, but that series was like, I think it was, how many episodes was in Jace because that was the only thing.
Jason the Whale, what? It can't have been more than a series.
Yeah, no, so it was a single
series. Because he was
series.
searching for his father, I don't think they ever found it.
So it was a single series, and it had 65 episodes.
Jesus!
Yeah, so nowadays, like, English shows normally get about 6. Sometimes they stretch it out to 10. Obviously, Netflix are about 10 to 12. This was 65 episodes. And also, I believe, and from memory, I think also had a movie.
Oh my god! Gee, I mean, if you had a movie, I've never seen it, which is a rarity for me.
Yeah, from memory, I believe it had a movie, which is kind of cool. And then obviously from there, we've got Thundercats. Obviously, we've already spoken about this: Defenders of the Earth, DuckTales, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and one of my favourites, and I remember having the toys of this, and I loved it so dearly, was Centurions. So if you've ever seen it, these were these dudes, and they all had specialties. So you had like a Navy dude that was obviously really good with water. You had like this dude that was in the desert who was Army, I believe, and then you had a Marine that was like an Air Force dude. Oh, no, sorry, you had the Air Force was an Air Force dude. You had something else, and pretty much they had these cool suits. And when they put their arms out, they would have different parts that would almost turn them into like a plane or to a motorcycle. And I remember having them as a kid, and it was literally felt like it was just like a press stud. But these toys would all go together, and you can turn the dude into a plane and stuff. And it was just a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so cool.
Yeah, no, I remember now. God, this is a throwback and a half.
Yeah, I know.
That is what this is.
So
oh my god, season one. So he had 60 episodes.
That's the thing. The old days, man. There was no mucking around.
Yeah, but this is the problem, isn't it? When you think about these old shows, it's like, oh, well, what season were you on? It's like, well, no, it was this episode. Oh, that was on season 2, was it? No, I'm sure it was all the same run, and then you find out that it was. It's just the fact is that back in the day they used to do it for, we want 80 episodes.
Yeah, or they used to run all of them together, so it would just be like, yep, from here to here.
Although the problem is that the one thing I used to hear about watching Transformers Gen 1 back in the day is that you'd watch an episode, but then you realise that it's talking about stuff that's from 4 episodes ago. They've already resolved this, like, the order's completely out of whack.
Well,
because we're not American, we're not watching it in real time, sort of thing.
Well, that was one of the major complaints with when they released Disney Plus, and obviously X-Men was on there. I actually found this website that says if you want to watch them in chronological order, this is how they are. But if you want to watch them in the actual order that if you want to watch them in the chronological order as they were released, that follows the storyline, this is it. But there was a bit in the middle where 5 or 6 episodes were all jumbled. And I remember seeing this where it says watch 19, 22, 24, 27, then go back, because they'd actually moved a few episodes. And I don't know why, but I'm like, okay.
To be fair, I am excited to see, because I know Disney is releasing, I think it's next year they're releasing, which is X-Men. It's called X-Men 97. Which apparently is the follow-on series from the original X-Men cartoon, which, quite frankly, I shouldn't be as excited to watch this, but I cannot wait, because I loved X-Men. Like, the X-Men cartoon got me into my comics, and therefore, so it was it was the gateway drug that got me in. That's when I fell in love with getting into comics, and then I realised because obviously at the time when we're talking about the original X-Men, is that DC had the monopoly on movies. If it was a DC comic movie, it was making money. We're talking about the original Batman, Superman movies. They were all hot commodities, and they worked.
Yeah.
And then it all went wrong. And we don't know why it went wrong. It just did. Suddenly
the thing that I don't understand.
Marvel came along with Iron Man and suddenly smashed it. No. It was Fox came along with the X-Men and smashed it.
But that was the weirdest thing about how that works, because even to this day, like, the DC cartoons that they release are phenomenal.
They're so good.
And every person that I know literally says the same thing. Why don't they just make the cinematic universe
a live action version?
Just a live action version of the cartoons? Because, like, you think about it, we probably can't go over it now because we are. We
did. We've already been over this literally. It was when we had the Flash movie talk.
Oh, that's
when we said, right, because the one thing we said is that we understood the Flash movie, and it was okay.
Yeah.
But we both agreed that where they went wrong is they didn't just copy the Flashpoint movie, the animation,
Because that was brilliant.
So absolutely epic. I mean, don't get me wrong, they could scale it back a little bit with the entire war with Atlantis and everything else. They could have scaled back just a little bit back, just a smidge. But God forbid, you've got all these actors. All you have to do is recreate that.
Yeah. And it was
in
brilliant.
some sense of order, and it would have been immense. But no, let's do our own thing and amalgamate it into Superman Red Sun and the Flashpoint. No, God, no.
And that's the thing that I do find sometimes hard is I do think that we kind of sometimes overdo it. And It's just like, bro, like, you've got this amazing thing there. Let's just run with that. Like, it's worked. People love it.
Yep.
Like, DC cartoons are amazing. Shouldn't be that hard. Just do it. But, yeah, they just don't do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anyway, we're getting to close to episode time, so we'll wrap it up there, because otherwise we're just going to rabbit on about how good DC animation is,
or
and
80s
Marvel movies are, and we've already done the topic multiple times. So
we say that, but we'll do it again. No, kidding.
So anyway, as the wrap up, we just want to thank all our recent subscribers, all our followers. Please make sure you do like, share, subscribe. It does get the podcast out there. You can also see our beautiful faces on Vidcast, on Spotify, as well as YouTube. Yes, I know. Beautiful is subjective as a word.
And I was going to say, and if you have seen our faces, don't warn them. Let them come over and discover the horror themselves.
Soon, the beautiful beard will be disappearing because I'm getting towards summer. It's getting towards summer. I always shave it off for summer.
Oh, really?
This is winter growth. This is all this is.
No, I didn't realise you shaved it off. Like, I know sometimes you trim it shorter, but
yeah, all right. So I tend to keep it nice and neat and tidy, obviously, because I can't stand a scruffy beard, and more important, my wife can't stand a scruffy beard. But when I get to summer, I find it too hot, so I shave it all off, and I go back to being beautiful babyface Jordan again. So that might have to be maybe we'll maybe do that for our last episode of the season.
Do a babyface Jordan.
We'll get babyface Jordan on. That'll be interesting.
Blimey, I hope I like him.
I'll maybe go down to a 0 like Dez, and we'll look similar for a day. Go right said Fred together.
Because 0 is the blade, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, so yeah, we'll end up doing that, but which will be interesting. But anyway, so yes, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to announce that obviously we are going to be curtailing probably episode. I reckon we're at 37. We might curtail it at 40.
Isn't this 38? I thought you just said this was 38.
Is this 38? This is 38. Sorry, we are at 38. So we might curtail it at 40.
Every episode's 38, but except for the one when
nice
Jordan has to remember.
Number. I feel like 40 is a good round number to end the season off.
Yes. So we've got 2 more episodes in theory.
In 2 more episodes in theory, which obviously takes us into the middle of December, which will be quite interesting, ladies and gentlemen. So we're very much looking forward to obviously ending our season and everything else. But obviously we are going to be coming back in the new year, and we're very much looking forward to it.
We'll definitely be back, so don't stress about that. So because I can hear the crying and the misery right now, but we will be back, so don't stress.
Especially when we've had a couple of weeks off to actually research topics and do it.
There's only one dude listening to this and being like, all right.
So anyway, much love, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure you do like, follow, subscribe. You can follow us on our social medias, which is TikTok, which we don't use, or X, which we haven't used in a while either.
Oh, really?
We are going to probably branch out on social media because X is kind of become a bit dead. So I'm thinking that we need to maybe go to Instagram. If you do think we need to go to Instagram, please let us know. It'll be interesting.
To be fair, though, there does seem to be Instagram seems to be, I mean, not Instagram, X seems to be a weird place of just not seeing the people who you constantly like and talk to, and then just seeing a whole heap of random boobs. Of people trying to get you to buy their OnlyFans. It seems to be a very weird place at current.
It is a very unusual place at the moment. So we are looking to jump social media platforms. And if anyone can recommend anything, please let us know in comment sections, DM us. Well, so we'd be very interested to hear from you guys. But anyway, we want to say a big thank you all the way from down in New Zealand, and a big thank you for all the way from Australia.
Later, people.
Later, gators. Catch you here.
Life is like a hurricane.
Here
It's a
in
ducktail.
Duckburg. No, Duckburg. God, get it right.